Hello everyone. Oh, it's a little dark. Let's see. Hello everyone. We have a Q&A today and let's just get into it. The first question is about transcripts for an unschooler, and I don't have that much experience with unschooling, and so I am going to put some links to help answer that question for you below in the description box. Okay, so that first question was transcripts for unschooling a high schooler. So I will do some research on that and put the links below. The next question: why are homeschool families so resistant to becoming committed to get-togethers? They're last minute, they say yes, they don't show up. Yeah, they don't let you know, and it makes it difficult for me to plan hangouts, etc. I find it quite rude and a waste of time. Yes, I hear you. I feel you. Not sure how to fix this, even with reminders and asking for RSVPs. Oh boy. I could actually talk about this all day, and I feel it's not just homeschoolers, and I feel that it's just this day and age that we are in. I've spoken to one of my friends throughout the years of just people responding and being courteous and taking pride in not wasting people's time and RSVPing and all of these things. I don't think this is just a homeschooling issue. I have this same conversation, like I said, with my friend over and over and over throughout the year. And what we have put our finger on is that people are more connected to the social media life and the internet reality, and even the TV reality, if I can say that. They're just not as connected to humans as much, and that brings these type of issues and problems of, I'm not even going to let you know that I'm not showing up because I just got so hung up in scrolling. Yes, and I got hung up in watching all of the YouTube shorts and the reels and the posting, and I don't keep track of time like I used to because now I have a smartwatch and I'm not looking at an analog watch anymore, and I'm not calculating how much time 15 minutes is in my brain. I'm relying on other things. And so that is what I have come up with through just speaking with my friend. You have to be extremely intentional these days to be intentional with other people, or else it's not going to happen, because we allow ourselves to be programmed by everything else. We don't even memorize where landmarks are, and we don't memorize street names anymore or highways anymore because we have Google Maps. And let me say this: I enjoy Google Maps and I enjoy technology, but it is a distraction to human connection, I feel. And as a result of that, when we make that homeschooling play date, or we make that teen hangout amongst homeschoolers or others, or with others, doesn't just have to be a homeschooling thing, we have just lost a human connection. And as a result of that, we think it's okay not to give the person a heads up that we're canceling. We don't give them enough time to say, like a 24 hours. I mean, we're even doing this type of thing with doctor's appointments and all of the such. And I just tie it into social media, the internet, and a lack of almost thinking for yourself. We can Google dictionary words so quickly instead of looking them up. And I say all of this to say technology has so many powerful pluses when it comes to human connection. A lot of times we're leaning more into the social media world rather than connecting. And so I can say that one of these days you will find your people and your tribe and your group. You just have to keep plugging. There was a time that I just said, okay, you know what, this might not be the season that I'm going to find that group of people to be consistent with and have my middle schoolers at the time just be able to hang out and connect. And we put our phones down and everything else, and we just commit and be intentional about being around each other and have the courtesy to RSVP and all of those things. There was just a time that I said, you know what, I'm just done, because the hurt from, making the plans and people don't show or don't want to come or what have you was a lot, especially when you put a lot of time and effort into it. And I just accepted that this was not the season, so I just made the best of the season with my family and my kids that I could, because the kids were getting disappointed too. Well, why was there a cancellation? Well, why not? Oh, I thought we were going to go to the zoo or wherever it is. And then, they're kids, they don't get it. And so I just want to encourage you to not give up. I know that's easy for me to say now because I'm in a good place when it comes to interacting with other homeschooling families. But even now, there's still some loopholes. And let me encourage you not to give up, because when your group or your people do show up, you want to be ready and present for them. And what I did realize is that group of people may show up and not be a homeschooling family. Yes, it may be somebody that's not homeschooling. And so you want to be open to that. It could be your neighbor. It could be someone at your church. It could be someone who lives in a different neighborhood, maybe just a little bit further away, that you have to, they want to be intentional and you do too, but there's a 15-minute driving gap there that you have to think about. And that just might be, who is going to be fully connected to you. So keep that in mind as well. And just try your best not to be discouraged. What do you think about meeting the requirements that the public schools have if your child might go to college? Okay, so my advice on that would be, if you know that your child is college bound, because there are many that are not, and that is perfectly fine. If your child is college bound, go to your state's Department of Education website to make sure that you know all of the requirements that is needed to graduate. And sometimes that does include certain subjects. So you're going to want to include those. If there aren't any requirements, then you have subjects that you can be more fluid with and have more freedom with. But then you also need to check the college or the community college, their website, and see what the requirements are. And a lot of times it's just listed as 4 years of English, 3 years of math. Sometimes there's some specific math classes that are required, the social studies, etc., etc. And you'll want to make sure that you meet those requirements. And I feel that if your child is college bound, that you should just simply meet those requirements. If you need more detailed information, so if the college website is a little bit more bland and it just says 4 years of English and you need some more guidance, what I have done is I looked at the local high school's requirements, and they usually spell it out a little more on what the 4 years of high school looks like and the specific classes. And then I would look at those, and since I do have a little bit more freedom in what I choose for my state, for my high schoolers, then I would say, okay, that sounds good, British literature or whatever. Not so sure about that one. I'm going to skip that, but I'm going to insert something else. I do hope that answers your question, and if not, let me know. Let me know below if you need some more clarification on that question. This person asked, what is the most challenging thing about teaching 3 high schoolers? Okay. The most challenging thing about teaching 3 high schoolers. Okay, so one of the challenges is their schedule. They're just on 3 different levels. I have a 9th grader, 10th grader, and a 12th grader. 3 different levels, 3 different schedules, 1 in sports, 1 working, 1 in a college class, 1 that is extremely independent. They all are, but extremely independent. So knowing when to just be there to offer the assistance whenever they need you for that one that's really independent. And I guess one of the other things that's interesting is having 3 different high schoolers with 3 different mindsets, and they're learning in 3 different ways because they're individuals, and just walking alongside each of them, they learn differently. So kind of along the lines, when they were younger, walk alongside them and nurture each one of them differently, because they're all different. They just have different experiences and different ways of learning. And so juggling that is a lot different than the toddler years, because we were able to do a lot more group sessions and be on the same page especially in the elementary years, with learning numbers and colors and just the basics. And now, since they're just forming lifelong habits and lifelong tools and learning about time management, they just each have a different way of doing things because they're becoming their own person. And so it's up to myself and my husband to try to figure out each one of their new learning styles, because it's starting to frame them for adulthood. I hope that made sense. But it's just a new way of learning and growing. So not only their schedule, but how they're forming into their own self, and how can we help them, and what's the best way to help them. That would be what this person is asking as one of the biggest challenge. How can we help them best in their individual way? So it's a lot different if you just have one high schooler, you're just helping that one high schooler, but we have 3. And so it's juggling that. My oldest needs different things than my youngest, who's in the 9th grade, and then my teenager who's in the 10th grade needs something different than my 10th grader. And it's not any different than when they were younger, but it is, just because we're helping to mold them for their future. So it's a bit of a juggling act, because we're a coach, we're a mentor now, we're a guidance counselor. We are still nurturing them and guiding them, but it just looks different. And it's a great time. It is a great time. I'm happy that we're able to walk alongside them in a challenging but teachable high school teenage time. Someone asked me, are you okay with homeschooling a 9th grader, 10th grader, and 12th grader? I am okay. I'm better than okay. I am grateful. I am thankful that God has allowed me to be in their life, to see them to this point, and to be able to continue to guide and nurture them. I know that my husband is thankful as well. It is an exciting time. It is a fun time. I love this stage. It has its ups and downs. I have a high school graduating senior, and that has been an emotional roller coaster. And I have just recently learned to embrace it and smile about it all. And when I have those down moments, I have those down moments. Talking through it with others, having a high school senior has been very helpful. And I think for homeschoolers, it's packed with a lot more emotions because you are around the kids more. Okay, yes, I don't see any of this as the end. Now that I have 3 in high school, I don't see it as the end. It is a new season. It's a new beginning. Understand that there are a lot of, this is the last day of this, so forth. And so I do get that. I just don't want to sit in a puddle of pity and sadness, because then I'll miss out on all of the exciting moments that are happening. Like, I just recently, about 2 hours ago, I ordered his cap and gown so that we can begin taking senior pictures. And I was resting on it for a little bit. I should have ordered it last week and I didn't, but maybe it was just a little of, oh, I can't believe that I'm doing it. And I just don't want to miss out on the joy of going through that process of ordering his cap and gown and seeing all the little steps that his journey entails, and being there for my 9th grader as this is her first year and things are exciting and new and challenging for her, or my 10th grader. I don't want to miss any of these moments. And so I am doing good. And then there's some days that I'm just okay. And it's not because I don't want to be in this moment. It's just that these high school years are, you see all of the days that you wanted to quit and you wanted to stop, and you reflect a lot in the high school years, and you just know that this is just a new season. Just just embrace it all. Just embrace it all. And excuse me as I have a moment, even now, as I reflect. I think it was yesterday. No, it was this morning. It started to rain outside. And the kids across the street were outside and they were running around in the rain. And they are, I think, kindergarten and fourth grade or something along those lines. And just watching them just have fun in the rain. And so it brings you back to a moment, brought me back to a moment when my kids were doing the same thing at that age. So you do a lot of reflections, and I've been trying to just be so grateful in all of those moments that I have, instead of just down in a deep grave of pity and I wish I should have done this and I should have done this more. Do I have some of those moments of I could have done this more? Yes. They're not regrets. It's just something I would have done differently. And so thank you for asking if I'm okay. I appreciate that more than you know. And I do hope that this little blurb of what I just said will encourage you, homeschool mom, and I hope that you're doing okay. More times than not, we're doing better than we think. And just know you're not the only one.